Now, millions of people are hurt or killed from injuries every year because adequate and timely assistance is not provided.
First aid is the immediate care you give it to a person experiencing a sudden injury or illness, and it may be to stop a situation from getting worse. In the face of a serious medical emergency, it may even save a life.
World First Aid Day is observed on the second Saturday in September every year. It is an annual event to raise public awareness and promote the importance of first aid training in preventing injuries and saving lives. Joining us in the studio is emergency response specialist and first aid trainer, Dari Kimfoshile. Good morning, Dari. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
Good
Thanks
morning.
for having me.
Great. Now, it's good to have you in the studio. Now, basically, break it down for us. We often hear about first aid and all of that, but what really constitutes first aid and what is not?
Okay, so to make it simple, first aid is acting right.
Okay.
It's a state of mind. It's your level of preparedness. If you're not prepared, once there's an emergency, you'll respond anyway, but you're likely to respond the wrong way.
In a way that compounds the situation.
Exactly.
Okay.
So everyone will respond one way or the other, but the idea of first aid is that you're responding adequately and you are doing the right thing. For instance, if someone is convulsing, you do not force a spoon into the person's mouth. But that's common practice.
So we understand that several people die or are injured every year because there was no adequate or timely response. So why is it that, as important as first aid is, we still have a challenge of access to first aid?
Yeah, I ask the same question every time. It's a function of education. Education, not in terms of schooling, is getting a lot of people informed and changing the way we behave. It's not uncommon also in Nigeria to find people crowding around an emergency scene. We saw the same thing when an helicopter crashed recently. Even that in itself is first aid. It's not until you pick an item and start bandaging or stopping bleeding, just knowing how to act is first aid.
But the point there is, when an accident or such kind of incident happen, whether it is natural disaster or an accident or man-made or whatever it is, there's usually this panic. And the panic sometimes leads to confusion. What do I do now? What should I do? And everyone is going up and down. Those who will have to cry will cry. So how does that compound the situation? Because that is, it starts from the mind, like you said earlier on. So if somebody is in a panic mode, how do you help?
It does. It doesn't help, rather. Panic doesn't help.
Okay.
And again, it goes back to preparedness. It's the same thing you talk about in finance. The more money you have, the calmer you are likely to be in a financial situation. So if you have the knowledge, you would act right. Even the person who has the knowledge doesn't necessarily mean he's the calmest, but he knows that at the point he has to take a deep breath and act.
So I just want to buttress on the point Mike made. Because even in our homes, when something happens to a loved one, the first thing we're thinking about is how to rush them to the hospital. The idea of, let's administer first aid doesn't really come to the mind. How do we get you to the pharmacy, or how do we get you to the hospital? So how should we create awareness? How can people become aware of first aid and what to do?
Yeah, we take first aid to schools, we take first aid to, for instance, tomorrow I'll be in the slum, we take first aid to kids, we take first aid to parents. Rushing the person to the hospital might not help. For instance, in the case of sudden cardiac arrest, you would not be too fast to get.
All right, you have some equipment there you want to demonstrate to us. Can you go there now and show us what we need to know?
Okay. If I may.
I can see someone lying down there.
Yes.
A dummy.
You know he's a dummy.
So what we need to do is always approach a situation safely.
Okay.
For the sake of this exercise, I would remove this mask.
Yes.
Safely. Okay, so you want to approach a situation safely, calmly. Maybe this man was electrocuted. You don't just want to jump onto the scene to get electrocuted.
Yes.
Again, so approach safely. In the case of cardiac arrest, which is something I'm demonstrating, for every 1 minute you delay not doing the right thing, the chances of survival drops by 7 10%.
Whoa.
So in 5-10 minutes, rushing to the hospital, this man may be dead. So you approach safely, you try to get the response. I would do this in a conventional manner, meaning that I would not consider the risk of COVID-19.
Okay.
Say it's a member of your household and you share the same level of risk as to COVID-19. So approach safely, you call the person's name, hello, are you there, are you okay? If this person is not responding and you are the only person, you need to shout for help. When the help comes, you give the help specific instructions. Okay. And so while the help is there, you come close to the person, hello, are you all right, what's wrong with you? If it's not responding, you need to open the airway. Perhaps it's not breathing. And once you do that, how do you open the airway? Palm on the forehead, to point at the jaw.
So one hand on the forehead and the other on the chin.
Yes.
Raising it up a little bit.
You lift the chin.
Okay.
Opening the airway could help the casualty breathe, but now we want to confirm if he's breathing. Okay. So how do we do that? You place your ear to the nose of the casualty to listen for the sound of breath, to feel the breath, and your eyes gaze on the chest to see if the chest is rising or falling. You do this for not more than 10 seconds. And if it's not breathing after 10 seconds, this is the time you need to call 767 or 112.
Okay.
Okay, so while the help is on the way, you start what is called cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Right. Cardio, chest, pulmonary, lungs. Resuscitation is to revive. Okay. You place your arm at the center of the chest, you interlock, your elbows locked in, back straight. Okay. You lean forward and you compress the chest.
That is to help with the breathing or help with the pumping?
Pumping action.
Okay.
You pump the heart, you compress the chest in a particular rhythm to pump blood around the system. Okay. You want to get blood and oxygen to the brain. Okay. Okay? So you do this fast, hard and fast, 30 times. After 30 compression, you alternate with 2 rescue breaths. You come back to the head, tilt the head, pinch the nose close, check the mouth for obvious obstruction. If you can't find it, it's not there. So don't go doing, oh, okay, that's it. No, you cannot do that. So it's not there, taking normal breath and seal your mouth over the casualty. Mind you, in this case, I am not considering the risk of COVID-19.
Yes.
Or where the risk level is the same thing as a member of your household. And then you breathe in into the lungs gently for about a second. You move your mouth. Okay. Gravity acts on the chest, and air is pushed out. Okay. Second. And then you continue 30 chest compression, 2 rescue breaths until help is reached. But in the case of COVID-19, all you have to do not open the airway, do not shake them, do not tilt their head. Place a piece of cloth over the nose and mouth or the face, and keep compressing.
What is have exactly?
Why do you put the cloth over?
Why would you put the cloth there?
Okay, so when you consider the risk of COVID-19, you are in the public place. A stranger has suffered a sudden cardiac arrest, and you do not know what the risk level is. As you compress the chest, you are creating, it actually generates aerosol. It's like spraying your body spray. Yes. And as you do that, saliva from the mouth or from the aerosols from the mouth is spread within the system.
But how do you balance? Because the point there is we are trying to make him breathe. Okay. And then we have this over his nose. Wouldn't that be a contradiction? In
cardiac arrest, it's not breathing anyway.
Okay.
So once you do this and you get enough oxygen to the brain to start the heart or to more like reigniting an engine, this person starts breathing, and then you can safely remove the piece of cloth.
In the case where the person is still not breathing, what do you do?
You keep compressing the chest until ambulance arrives. Okay. And then, of course, there's what we call AED, automated external defibrillator. Perhaps we've seen it in the movie where doctors get 2 metal pieces. There is a portable device where you can bring to the scene, attach. It's very simple to use, and you should be able to revive the person.
Wow, Dari, that's amazing. That's really amazing. Absolutely. Come over here. Let's. This is really nice. But the point there is, although we're rounding off now, but the issue there is calling a medic. You know, we are very used to when you watch movies. Oh, call the medic, and everyone knows the numbers to call. Here, it is not. 911 is more common. When it comes to medic, it is not as common as the 911. Talk to us about that briefly.
Yes, it's also part of the education. I was in a place recently in the maritime sector, and I asked the guys what is the emergency number, and no one could tell. It's simple: 112-767.
Okay.
112 or
112, and that's
is that
in Lagos.
national or Lagos?
Lagos.
That's in Lagos.
Lagos.
Okay. So we need something more universal for the
112 works
country.
in many states, but
Okay.
not all.
112.
So much talk about how we don't have access to first aid, but sometimes it's just how we do it that's also a problem. People have different approach to first aid. What is the implication of not doing it right?
Okay, so if you do not do it right, you may cause further injuries rather than helping. For instance, if someone is convulsing, the general practice is for people around to get a spoon and force it into the person's mouth. What happens is then you can break the teeth and also damage the gums. And so you've not done anything. Whereas you could have
What is that theory anyway? What are they trying to prevent originally? From biting the person from biting his tongue or something?
That's the thought. But,
I see.
We've seen that doesn't even do anything. You can as well leave the person alone and just observe them, and then they'll recover. Convulsion will subside.
Okay, so I guess there are a lot of myths and myths
Yeah,
surrounding
exactly.
us and around
Exactly.
all of
That
this.
has to do with the awareness thing. Now, let's get into the first aid box. It is always advised that even in the house, you need a first aid box. In the work environment, there has to be a first aid box. In the mosque or in the church, any of those places where people gather. What should be in the first aid box?
Basic stuff: bandages, wipes, alcohol wipes, antiseptic wipes, methylated spirit. No.
Why not?
Okay, so it is also a common practice for us to get cotton wool, dip it into the methylated spirit and wipe the injury.
Or iodine?
No, that's also a wrong practice because methylated spirit in itself is poisonous.
Whoa.
Oh. All right, so show us. I mean, we're getting to learn a lot of things. So show us how we can pull these things into practice.
Okay, so I would like to demonstrate how you manage choking.
Oh, yeah, that's another very common one there.
Choking. So for this exercise, I'm going to don my gloves.
I can see a baby lying down there.
Yes, it's ideal for you to do this in an emergency. Sometimes it could take a bit of time, especially in COVID-19. You want to do this. Okay, so I'll start with the adults.
Sorry, the gloves are very necessary. In case you don't have one, can you just go ahead?
Yeah, you can go ahead. Of course, you have to observe the hand hygiene protocol.
Okay.
Okay, so you find an adult seated, choking. Of course, you see some manifestation, difficulty in breathing, difficulty in speaking. So what you want to do is to establish if this person is choking. Sir, are you choking? So this is not for you to get a definite answer. If the guy says, oh God, they choke, he's not choking.
Of course.
But the idea is, if he's having difficulty breathing or speaking, you encourage him to cough. Please, cough, cough. If that is not working, you go to his back, make him stand up, or you, depending on his situation, if you can stand up, make him stand up, bend him forward, tilting forward a little, and deliver a powerful back blow in between the shoulder blades.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 5.
How does that help?
It helps to create a surge within the windpipe or the digestive tract, wherever the object is stuck. And so that helps to force the object out. If that is not working, you go ahead to do what is called Emlich maneuver. You create a fist just at the end of the sternum or just above the belly button. You create a fist and you cover it with the other hand. And so you do this. This could be painful sometimes. So you do it hard and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 5. Meaning that if you do the first one and the object is out, you can as well stop. Okay. If the person is still choking, you continue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As you're doing that, you're observing if the person is still
So
choking.
you have to bend the person slightly to the front.
And with the heel of your and you deliver a powerful blow
Okay.
in between.
So how about the baby? Because I can see a baby there.
So if an infant is choking, you do the same thing applies to the adults.
Okay.
What applies to the adult applies to the child.
Okay.
But for an infant, from a newborn to 12 months, you can't ask them if they're choking.
Okay.
So you have to be able to recognize that.
Okay.
And so what you do is similar, but this time you support the baby's head this way, tilt them slightly
Okay.
inclined,
Okay.
and use your palm. 1, 2,
Okay.
3, 4, 5. If the infant is still choking, gently you turn the infant with 2 fingers at the center of the chest. You compress 1,
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5. You compress the chest, and then
Okay.
you continue 5 back slap and
Until it's
Different
okay.
amounts of
a
time.
deep.
Wow.
And after 3 cycles, you then call 1, 1, 2, or 7, 6, 7.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
I
Dari.
mean, so much
Thank
to
you
learn.
so
Thank you
much.
so much, Dari.
Thank you.
Akinfosile.
Right.